Hola, hola.
Buenos días, Mary.
Buenos
¿Qué
días.
onda?
I'm trying to figure out what's the best flight in here. Oh, here we go.
Got
How's it
it?
going?
Good, good, good. Let me make sure that I'm recording here real quick. All right, we're good. We're good, we're
Oh, well,
good. All right, so thank you for coming on to the Art of Transformation podcast. I appreciate you as a guest. Buenos dias.
thank- Buenos dias. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Super excited. I have some questions for you. I have some juicy questions. Are you ready, or you want to
I'm
introduce?
ready.
Let
I
let
was born ready.
Let's go. So, all right, let's get a quick introduction of you, Mary. Just a quick rundown of your background, where you're coming from, your story, real quick. And I'm trying to look at our time too, so I don't want to press you too much for time here. So,
No, it's good.
yes.
So about me, you want to introduce me, or should I introduce myself?
Introduce your. You can introduce yourself here. I think
I'll,
you're a very capable person. So like.
All right. Well, I am born and raised in Mexico.
Yep.
I moved to America when I was 21, right after school, and um, I've been working on the real estate industry since 2000. I started in 2006.
Okay.
I didn't even know, and I didn't know English. I didn't have papers, so that's kind of like the identity
Yeah.
that I had been starting to develop for the all of these many years. Now
Yes.
I have the only one real estate investment company based in Qatar, which is internationally.
Right.
And I do mostly international real estate investments, meaning like we built real estate based investment portfolios in America for our international clients.
Very cool.
The company is based in Qatar, but we have clients from all over the world, including Mexico, Europe, Middle East. So yeah, I
That
think
the thing
that's
I
who I
like most about your
am.
story, Mary, is that I resonate so much with you too. And I'm an immigrant from Mexico as well. So I came over when I was really young. My family's from Chihuahua. My grandma lives in Tepic, and she like I look towards her for a lot of this, a lot of that, um, the values, right? So when it comes down to it, like I see you, and I'm just like, man, this woman's so strong, you know. Like I love how you present yourself, and the way that you've come through adversity and really challenged yourself by facing those fears. It's like not having fear. It's like coming over to the United States without your family. It's like that story. That's
All right.
Yeah, it's super hard, super duper hard, and it resonates with so much of our community, I think, too. So I thank you again for sharing that stuff with us. I
Thank you.
my Yeah, thank you so much. And even keeping yourself growing too. Like that's the most important part that I see you doing. It's like picking up a third language. It's like through your second language. That right there is really impressive too, because it's not easy to learn that third language, especially if you're going through that second one.
Oh my
And
gosh, especially when it's a total different alphabet, and then you have to read from, in America and Mexico, we read from right to left to right,
great.
and then our world is right to left or something. It's like,
Yeah.
and the books are all backwards,
Yeah.
and like all of my meetings now are in Arabic. It's just
Wow.
like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But honestly, I feel like I just want to touch base a little bit on the coming from Mexico, and it's not easy, and me just pushing forward to any down that I go through in my life. I've
Yeah.
gone through so much. I went through just through a divorce last year, and my dog passed away, as you know. So it was really hard year for me. But just remembering how I came back from Mexico, and like I remember I used to cry all the time, like leaving my family behind. I'm very close, as you know, on the Mexican culture. We're like super close to our family.
Yes.
And like I used to go and hang out with my grandma and my cousins like every weekend.
Yeah.
And, hanging out with my parents and my brother and my sister, having carne asadas and
Yeah.
things like that. And
Yes.
it's like really hard to, and then going from being with your family, you know, and then moving to America with no English, no friends. Of course, I have my aunt that actually she took me in, and my cousins, but everybody has their own thing going on, and it was very very hard. And I think that's what keeps me pushing through every single time that things get hard. It's like I didn't have I just can't go back. I just
Yeah.
can't go back to that. So you just keep pushing through.
Yeah,
So
relationships are definitely one of those topics that interest me a ton as a mindset coach, as a life coach. And I know that those are like really important for us, whether it be a person or even our little cachorritos, our little munchkins. And that for me, like I had a dog that that sat at the foot of my bed right at my door for 2 years when I broke my leg.
mm,
So she was there for a really long time for me, and she never left me. It's one of those the connections that we make with our animals is sacred for me.
yeah,
Like it's a sacred contract that they come into this world, and it's like whether they know us or not, they accept us for whatever we
yeah,
are. And I find that hard with humans, with people.
mm,
It's like, especially with family, it's like one of those things, like accepting, forgiving, forgiveness. It's a difficult topic sometimes, because we look at individuals, it's like, oh, you hurt me so much, but how do I let that stuff go?
oh my
And
gosh, yeah. People hold grudges for. Sorry, I have to grab a napkin.
yeah.
People have grudges for so many small things when there is so much bigger things in the world happening. And
Absolutely.
and when you have that perspective, um, when you for me, what you're saying, I lived overseas. I live in Egypt. I was in Mexico. These are third world countries, and when people get stuck, when like things that really don't really matter much, and it's like it's so dumb to me. Where like there's people and animals. I'm an animal lover. You know that. I'm just
Yes.
obsessed. I always say I love dogs more than humans,
Yeah.
because for me the same thing is being one of those things that my dogs had helped me go through depression, go through my all of
Yes.
my moves from Egypt to America to Qatar. I also live in DC as well. So when people get stuck on the little small things that in reality, when you have a bigger picture, don't really matter, and waste so much energy on things that you know they're not gonna matter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just very very dumb stuff. For me, it's just like no, I just don't focus on that, and I really focus my energy on the things that I can do to change my life, my family's life, and continue to work and work on my legacy. I'm right now working on building my legacy and working on changing my family patterns. So I have this ton of vision, and when things get distracted from the daily life, I just don't really bother.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I have my laser vision. These little things are not gonna really. I can sidetrack.
Yeah.
I just have to keep going.
this is
So
this is a component of the emotional intelligence that I talk to people about also. I'm familiar with the fourth way, which is through Ouspensky and Gurdjieff. There's a teaching that they did, and they talk about the different centers of the body: the intellectual, the emotional, the instinctual, and the mechanical center, right? And
mhm.
through these different centers, they have different speeds, emotion being one of the fastest, 30,000 times faster than your intellectual or instinctual or mechanical center, right? So like when we get emotional, it's hard for us to really keep our head on straight.
Yep.
And that part makes it difficult for us to make clear decisions when we're ¿cómo se dice? Cuando estamos así como bien emocionados, bien elevados.
100%, and I agree with you on the emotional part. I am an empath, so I'm always like emotional, and like I like seeing like videos of people getting hurt just by going to Mexico. To be honest, it's really hard for me to go to Mexico because I see so many dogs on the streets. I see so many people on the streets, kids, working, and it's really hard for me just going to see these. Like I
Yes.
just can't. Like it's just extremely hard. So I'm always like, I literally like try to, when I'm driving with my parents or whatever, I try to even close my eyes. Like it's really hard. Or of course I do something about it. I'll go and buy like dog food bags and I leave them on the street and things like
Yeah,
that. But that doesn't really solve the problem. You
that's
know,
true. That's
I'm
true.
feeding the dogs for the moment, but I just that doesn't solve the problem. And same with humans. And emotionally also I feel like for an entrepreneur and us for females that we do have hormones and we go through, hormonal ups and downs. It's like so hard.
Yes.
Sometimes you're just like, don't you wake up and you don't really feel like working. You just feel like just put on your sweatpants and like eat ice cream. For me it's not ice cream, it's chips, because I'm Mexican and I love chips. So but you have to keep going.
Yes.
You have to, and also you have to allow yourself to, not every day you're gonna be on peak state.
Yeah.
I wish, like, it's hard to maintain a peak state 24/7 for several days or months or years or whatever. Like I have never been able to master that, which I'm working on it. I'm working to be able to snap out of like a sad state, or like I'm rushing, or like an anxiety or something didn't go my way and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Things like that. So it's very important to be able to have the tools when your state is going, and it's kind of like the mindset, right? It's also the mindset.
Absolutely.
When it's just when you're not on your A game and then you need to like push through for a big meeting.
Yes.
And you're feeling, like for me, I guess that I'm learning and I'm working on it, because when I go to Qatar, like for instance, the reason that I mentioned is I'm leaving next Thursday. Yes. And sometimes don't feel like going on a 16-hour flight, super jet lag when you arrive, because it's day and night.
Yeah.
Some people don't get jet lag. I do get jet lag. But the next thing I don't want to do is sit in a 3-hour meeting and it's all in Arabic, and I'm just exhausted. And, but these Arabic meetings I used to have to do. So, like, I have to tweak my stay and be like, and this is what I do. You want to build your legacy. You want to help your family in Mexico. I start thinking on my why. Why am I doing this? Because I don't feel like doing this right now. I'm exhausted. I just want to like go and sleep and get rid of my jet lag.
Yeah.
But I just don't have that option.
Yes.
I freaking have to go and get and do what I have to do. Yeah. Even when I don't feel like it, I just go and do it, because that's what it takes to build and to, I guess, to build what I'm building, and then to just get to the next step on what you are working for.
I love that. I love that so much, because that laser focus that you're talking about, it's like you're already in the next stage of it. You're on the next level already. For me, like I talk to so many people, including myself, when I perceive myself, and I notice those things that get in the way when I wake up. It's like the difficulty that I have through depression, or the difficulty that I have with relationships. And I give myself those things as excuses. I have self-pity for myself when I see myself that way. It's like, and I know other people struggle that way as well. But that's one of the things, that's one of the core components here that I teach people. I say, you can't be looking at other people if you can't resolve yourself. It's like, if you're unable to do those things in yourself, but you're way ahead of that. You're like, you're on the level of actually creating the energy in your laser focus mindset. It's like you're on that level, and that's where I feel people want to get to also, and that's where I'd like to be also.
It's not easy, obviously. I started learning about energy, to be honest, last year. I didn't understand anything about energy. I didn't even know. I wasn't even aware. And so I started studying how energy works. And then I got a coach. Start learning about it. And then I started learning about the mindset even more. I didn't always knew about mindset, but I had been working with coaches for a few years now, and I always have a coach. I right now have a few coaches and different. I have my business coach. I have I still have my energy coach, and then I coach with productivity with Brandon Bouchard. So I do have 3 coaches right now. and I do events like Tony Robbins,
Yes.
events,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the work on when people say manifestation, I do, it's visualization.
Yes.
So it's the same thing when people don't believe in manifestation and well, visualization, whatever you believe in, I don't care. It's like the same thing. It's just visualize or manifest, whatever you want to call it if you don't like the manifestation word.
Sure.
So it's super important to work on that, and you know what, it was almost like magic happened
Yes.
when you, because last quarter, like my last Q4, things are really hard for me. I'm still going through my divorce. I was final, but I was still going with some stuff with that. And then I also stole my dog. And then also the World Cup was happening in Qatar, and I literally put all of my eggs on my Qatar clients, meaning like I was focusing on the business. And when the World Cup happened, things stopped. Like none of my clients wanted to talk to me because they were not talk to me like I'm mad at you, but like, oh, I'm in World Cup mode. And when
Yeah.
you're dealing with multimillionaires and millionaires, they don't freaking care. It's just they don't need money right now. It's just like I'm in World Cup mode and party every day, And I'm like, okay, I leave you alone because I know how
It's
I deal with them. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna leave you alone. Enjoy the World Cup,
yeah.
And
It's
and I was like,
it's like when
I
the
feel
yeah, it's like when that game of like Chivas in America is on. Like nobody like nobody pays
no.
attention to you. Like they're just
It
watching
was
the
like
TV. You
it
know what I
was
mean?
do
Like
not get disturbed,
yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah.
much. Don't
Exactly.
disturb. Oh, it was like that. So I at that point I was working. I started working with the energy coach, and I realized that I shifted my energy and the mentality versus like, shit, I'm failing. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do anything. I could have just take the whole month off and just be like, whatever, nothing is gonna happen until January, or February. Like it is what it is,
Yeah.
And instead of like, what can I do? I have to pivot. I have to pivot, and so that's when I started like reaching out to other clients, like other potential clients, and do collaborations. And I shifted the energy, I shifted the mindset
Yes.
from the victim to I'm gonna take this opportunity to see what else is out there. Like just gonna like explore with my vision and mission that I still have to provide for my family and help my family.
Exactly.
I can and pay for my bills. I cannot just be sitting on the couch, be like waiting until the World
Exactly.
Cup ends and be
Yes.
like, well, it's not my problem. Like the World Cup is happening, my company's right there,
Yeah.
based there, then I don't have a work. I didn't sit on that. I mean, like I went through a couple of days. I don't want to lie to you and be like, I went through a couple of days. I'm like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, what can I do? And then also be surrounded by the right network and the right peer group also like really help out,
Absolutely.
because people are trying to like, no, you got this, figure it out, pivot, blah, blah, blah. So that's when everything shift for me to the next level, to now that I'm working on $1 billion clients and deals.
Yes.
I went from like hitting like the 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, maybe $50 million portfolios to now I'm building $2 billion portfolios.
Wow. Wow.
How
Wow.
does that happen?
Yes.
It's almost like the magic,
Yeah.
right? It was magical. I was like,
You know.
honestly, I believe in God.
Yeah.
So for me, it's God. But when I shifted the energy with the mindset, it was an explosion that I could never imagine. Like it would, I will be me, Mexican with no papers, no English, working in $2 billion portfolios.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love that.
But I take it.
I freaking love that. The cool thing I think about this too is that if you do study mind like on an esoteric level, like on an I think that's more of an energy level, but it's because of my immediate influences. My biological father was a shaman down in Mexico. My mom is an energy healer. She studied with him. My aunt is also an energy healer, and she's therapeutic, hands-on, kind of lay on hands stuff. They always talk about Egypt because Egypt is the land of magic. It's the origin of magic, essentially, historically, and it's one of those places. It's like no one knows, but they talk about Jesus going away for like a really long time, and then he came back. Supposedly he went to Egypt to study, and they talk
Yes.
about that process that he went through when he was there. You know, it's like what were those things that they were talking about? And
I
that's yeah.
It is crazy because I did go to that one church where he was supposed to be hidden, like he was hidden in this one church because I don't remember the whole story about it, but it was like he was hidden on in this church when he was studying, and I don't know where he was hiding from, but he was hiding there. And I actually went to that church and I saw like the places where he was. I've been to Jerusalem, I've been to Egypt, so I'm like I just love history, and like obviously that is a beautiful connection
Yes,
and energy. But back then I didn't understand energy, so I would love to go back and just be surrounded by
it is.
all of the magic,
It's all of the
you know.
magic, but you're over there. That's what that I look up to that. You know, it's like I see you as a role model for so many of us too. And you're talking about this being as a global thing too. You know, it's like we look at the poverty that happens in Mexico. I know there's poverty in Egypt as well. I know there's these different components that we're looking at to better not just ourselves but for other people. That's one of the reasons why I look at the why and how you've developed your why. You know, it's like you look at family, and that's so good. But I think the last question that I asked you was or that I was looking to ask you was like a scarcity mindset versus an authentic mindset. And I know like you're fearless, Mary. Like you're a type of person that just goes straight to the point. You know, it's like you go straight up to the the person. It's like you don't have those excuses, and that's one of the things that as a core value that you look for in other people as well. You know, it's like you align yourself with those core values, and having
Yes.
that team of people around you is so important. But how do you create that value when you're in the face of fear? You know, it's like you make a split-second decision to walk up to somebody, and you know, it's like you gotta come up with something of value in that moment, you know.
You know, it's something that has always worked for me. I never think, and I never get stuck on the what if the person says no? What if they don't answer me? What are they gonna say? Are they gonna reject me? Blah blah blah. Whatever, all of the negative objections that you put in your head. It's
Yes.
almost for me. I just know what I have to do to get stuff done, so I don't really think about it. And even on so many challenges, when I'm scared of doing something, honestly, I just put myself in the situation and I do it because I know it's almost like a principle. I need to do it. I need to put myself in uncomfortable positions to grow my business, and to build my legacy and change my family's, pattern. So I just go for it. I don't think about it. The I don't let any negative thoughts, come on the way. Like I don't know if you ever heard these, and I used to do it even before this book I read. Is the 5 second rule by Mel Robbins. Um, I used to have. I always do it. I just always go for it. I always been for it. I feel like this has to do with how I grew up in Mexico. My parents used to send me, like I used to like take the orders at the food truck. They used to like go ask this question, go ask this question, go pay, ask for the check and whatever, whatever. So they always send me to talk to people, so I'm not shy
Yeah.
with me asking questions or being embarrassed or whatever. That's one thing. I think that's when it. I think that's the root. That's the root with it. The second part is I know I need to get it done in order to get my results.
Yeah.
So if I think on the result, I don't really think about the process, right? So when I'm thinking on the result and I'm focusing on the result, I don't see too much. I'm like, I'm scared. Like, have I been scared and then afraid and blah, blah, blah? Yes, of course, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. But I just don't let it affect my results,
That's
you
so
know?
cool. That is so cool. Now,
So
yeah, on that level, do you think like competition makes you better, or some people are how do you say, uh, they're intimidated by competition, right? Is that
I don't get intimidated by competition at all. If anything, I try to collaborate with the competition.
it's beautiful? That's so good.
Collaboration is powerful. I if people are scared or whatever for collaboration with or on competition, they're not thinking on the abundance mindset,
Yes.
right? I believe that there is enough for all of us in this world as long as you go and work for it, and then you chase it, or you look for it. So when people are on this scarcity mindset, like, oh, that's my competition, or oh, I'm gonna be mean to my competition, or oh, I'm not gonna attack to my competition, or oh, I'm not going to give an insight to my competition. I would love some competition. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't have that mindset. My mindset is all about abundance, and I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to change their lives. I want everybody to get what they want. So yeah, I really don't work like that. When people has that, is because they're very insecure within inside. So I really not I'm not that person. And for my competition, I wish everybody wealth and health and happiness. Like,
Yes.
by all
Yes.
means, there is enough in this world for all of us. So go get it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that way. That just doesn't affect my
That's so good.
nothing. If anything, when somebody, and especially in Qatar, when somebody's like, oh, you have competition there, I'll like reach out to them right away. I'm like, you want to do a collaboration? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I get in, and then we do more powerful things together.
So cool.
Um,
Wow.
so, and it's like almost like an explosion of goodness. So yeah,
I love
no, for
that.
me.
Explosion of goodness. That's so good.
I love it. But I wanted to tell you, for a tip that I kind of like skyrocket the split second of when you're afraid
Yeah.
to go and talk to that person, to go and ask this question, to take the next step. There is the book, The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins. She This helped me a lot because I had already done like that type of role in different levels, different ways. But this really helped me because I had an issue with waking up early, because I used to wake up at 4 in the morning when I was a child. For like 5 to 21, I used to wake up at 4 in the morning.
Wow.
So I always wanted to have a late, like a sleep in, like I
Yeah.
always wish to sleep in. So when I moved to America, I was like nothing but sleeping in, and like that's not productive,
Yeah.
So
The other way.
so for a long time, it was really hard for me to wake up early. And now I own a company where sometimes I have to wake up at 1 in the morning, sometimes at 3, 4, 5, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't. It was really hard for me, and I used to dislike it. So the 5 rule teaches you how to snap out of the split second scarcity or fear or laziness or whatever the objection is. It's you just count like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you were like, and you just make the decision that you have to do.
Wow.
Like you have to one talk to this person. You give yourself 5 seconds and you just freaking take immediate quick action, like almost like a launch, like a skyrock, whatever you want to call it. Just like go and do it. So I am kind of like using that a lot when I'm not super confident to say yes to something. I just do that.
That's a great rule. That's thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. That is so good. Hey Mary, so we were looking to do 15 minutes. We're at 30 minutes right now. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know your time is very valuable. I appreciate the stuff that you've shared with us right now. All of it has been illuminating for me. And I appreciate the things that you share with us, because you're essentially a giver, it seems, and you like to help people, and you want to you want to better other people's lives, and for me that's a huge goal, because it is a global thing. It's not just about like America or Mexico or just the Middle East kind of thing. It's all of us, and
Yep.
we're bringing those things together. I think business dynamic has to kind of like elevate and grow. So I those are the solutions that I'm looking towards. So thank you for working with me and coming onto the podcast. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. And yeah, let me know when this is live. I can't wait to hear it back.
Yeah, it'll be live in like 30 minutes. It'll be
Oh, awesome!
I'll
Send me
put
the
this.
link. Send
Yeah,
me the link so I can post it on my social media.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Mary. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you, you too.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye.
Bye bye.